Good morning, ma'am.
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 Good morning. Yes, so I'm meeting you all after 2 weeks almost. I was on leave, right? So yes, and last week, Rachna, she had engaged the classes, I guess.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So what did she teach you all?
Said, ma'am, Didi gave us some
Comprehensive.
unseen comprehension, and
Okay.
the question we did it in a time bound. Then Didi matched it.
Okay, and did she
And at
discuss?
last, she started idioms
Okay,
Yes,
she
discussing.
yes, yes.
started. Okay, she started discussing idioms. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So comprehension, idioms, these things are almost done. Did she
No, ma'am,
discuss the
idioms
No,
just
ma'am.
started.
Idioms had just
One
been
more.
started.
Okay, started fine. I will circulate a worksheet on idioms. So you will go through that. So don't worry about it. As for the comprehension, did she discuss the answers with you all? Like whatever she had, the passage she had given you and the questions of the
Yes, ma'am.
passage?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Discussed.
Okay. So as for the like the syllabus which needed to be discussed, she had then covered only two topics, right? Comprehension and idioms she had started. Is that so, or had she done something else as well?
Ma'am, that much.
That much. Okay, no issue. Uh, okay. Now all of you have the syllabus with you, right? Uh, I think I had
Yes,
mailed
ma'am.
you. Okay. So can you please open your syllabus if it is accessible?
Ma'am, where have you sent syllabus? In Gmail.
Okay, just a second. I will say what is there in your syllabus because we have to now focus on your mid-sem, right? When is your mid-sem?
Ma'am, 14 to 18 February.
14th,
14th February.
14th. Okay, so midweek of February, and today is 18th. So we will be getting like 3 weeks time, including this week, 3 or 4 weeks. So usually what we do for the mid-sem, we keep the first and the third modules for your mid-sem exam. Okay. And since second module, you would see that it includes the oral activities like debate, extempore, group discussions, all these things. So they are never included in your written exams, be it mid-sem or end-sem. This I think I had told you earlier as well. Okay. So, in the first module, what are the things that needs to be discussed? Let me just see, and we will move accordingly. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me check the syllabus. Just a second. If you can the syllabus. If anyone has it at hand, can you share the screen? Because I'm looking for it. So,
Ma'am, you shared it in the Google Classroom.
okay, wait. Can you share it here? Because I'm just trying to access it from the phone. Just a second. Let me see. Yes, got it. Fine. So, grammar introduction, we had already talked about. Parts of speech has been done. We had done subject verb agreement as well, right? Before I left. So now tenses, voice, synonym, antonym, I'll be circulating a sheet. One word for a group of words. Again, there will be a sheet on it. Foreign words, uh, homonym, homophone, etymology of words, idioms. These things will be, there are certain components in group one, of which you will be getting sheets where you can just go through the sheet and then you will be getting questions based on it. And some, based on it, like those are obviously representative list. It's not, uh, it does not encompass everything, but mostly we have tried to, make it exhaustive so that it is helpful. Yet, it's better if you, just can widen your base a little bit regarding topics like idioms, then foreign words, one word for a group of words, homonyms, antonyms, all these things. Okay. Comprehension for this she has already done. Paragraph formulation, essay writing, email writing, writing for the web. Okay, so not many topics that needs to be covered. So let's start with tenses. Okay, time and tense. So are you ready, class? Shall we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, good. Just a minute. Now just give me a minute. Yes, so let's begin. Now, when we talk about time and tense, what do you mean by time and tense? Can anybody tell me? We have all done this in our school days, till high school. So, what do you mean by time and tense? What does time and tense incorporate? I'm expecting an answer from at least one of you. Can you hear
Ma'am,
me?
it tells about the future or past or present.
How? Can you just give me an Can you give me an example?
Yes, ma'am. Like I do things. This is a present thing,
Okay.
and I did something. This was a past, and I will do. This is future. We can distribute things in ways.
Okay. So
Ma'am,
it
time is a concept in which we live in reality.
okay. Okay. So you have given me a broad outline of what time and tense actually means, right? So to some extent, it is correct. And to some extent, we need some amount of explanation, right? Especially the rules which determine its form. You know, time, because time is important here, because it depending on the time when the event happened. Okay, we decide the tense. Now, although we say that it is future tense, actually it is the future time that is denoted. Future tense is something which is colloquial. It does not exist grammatically. Okay, we have all grown up, being used to this concept called future tense, but it is not so. Actually, it is the time in the future that determines the tense, and it is common, for all, be it the present or the past. Now, since you have already given a broad, outline of what, or how you say things, the verbs which are placed. So obviously, to keep things simple right now in the beginning, I can say, when it is present, I usually use the present form of the verb. Okay, like do, uh, I do this, I go to school every day. Okay, so
Is MR.
yes, is, are, these are the be verbs. Okay, these are called the be verbs, and the other things are the doing verbs. Okay, is, are, uh, then has, okay, am. These are all the present form of verbs, but these be verbs come into play when we use the continuous tense or the perfect tense or perfect continuous tense in the present form, okay, in the present time. Right. Now, when see, we just said is, am, are. They also be verbs which are used in the present time. So when you are doing some activity, which is continuing for a certain amount of time, we use this. Like I am reading this book, okay, or we are going to school, okay. So these are certain activities which are continuing for a certain amount of time in the for certain amount of time in the present, not past, okay. Then we use the be verbs, right? Then you have the perfect tense, where I said that has, have, these are important. You use has, have, and then you use the first past participle of the verb. I have uh, done this. I have read this book. Okay. Or he has read this book. Right. Then you have perfect continuous tense, where how do you use it? We use has been reading this book or have been reading this book in this manner. Okay. We will come to the rules a little bit later. I'm just talking about the basic outline, how we understand, whether it is a present form of the tense, present continuous or present perfect or present perfect continuous tense, okay, or how it is past and so many divisions are there, or how it is in the future and so many divisions are there. What is the form which determines the uh, you know tenses. So I'm just discussing this right now. Rules will be taking up later once we are done with this. Okay. Past, you all know, I went to school. Okay. The past form of a particular verb, right? If it is continuous tense, event which had taken place in the past and it continued for some time in the past, okay, then we use was, were, uh, I was, doing my homework. Okay, we were doing our homework or we were playing football, something like that. Okay, so this is an activity which continued for some time in the past, not in the present. Present, it is over. Okay, but you are reporting in the present. Perfect. Okay, you use not has, have, but had, and then you say that I had read this book, or I had visited the doctor, something like that. Okay, then you have perfect continuous, okay, where you use had been and the verb. Okay, I have been reading this book for the last 1 week. Okay, so this is perfect continuous. Then you have the future. Okay, so how do you determine the future? Uh, tense, the form. We use shall, will, and then the verb. I shall go to school. Okay, we will go to school. Okay, then you have the continuous tense. Okay, shall be, will be, and then like going to school or reading this book, doing the homework, something like that. Then you have the perfect form of the future tense, where you will say, I shall have read this book by tomorrow. Then you have perfect continuous. Like will have uh, been, then doing this work, reading this book, eating, something like this. Okay, so these are the basic forms, of the tense by which you can determine, what tense has been used and for which period of time. Okay, the time actually determines the tense. Okay, so the forms, these are the basic forms. Now, how are these forms determined? Time is obviously important, but then there are certain rules which we have to keep in mind when we are, determining what kind of tense are to be used. Okay. Now, when we are using simple present tense, okay. Now, when do we use a simple present tense? The simple present tense, it denotes an action which has happened in the present time, right? Or something which is habitual truth or eternal truth. I hope you know what habitual truth and eternal truth is. Like, the
No,
sun
ma'am, please
rises.
elaborate.
Yes, the sun rises in the east, okay? Or the earth revolves around the sun. Now, these are all habitual truths. This happens every day, okay? Nobody can change it. So, when you talk about the sun rising or sun setting or the earth revolving around the sun, okay? So, you do not use the past form of the verb ever. It's always in the present form. Okay, so these type of statements are habitual truths and eternal truths. Nobody has changed them. So you always say sun rises in the east, sets in the west. The earth revolves around the sun, the earth rotates on its axis. So these are type of statements which are considered as habitual truth, where you always use the present form of verb. You will never see that these are mentioned in the with the past form or the past tense ever. Okay. And then, as we were saying, that if you are talking about some action which had taken place in the present time, right? So, yeah, like I go to school or I read these books. Um I get up early in the morning. So these are events which have taken place in the present time. Okay. Now next comes present continuous tense. Okay. Now when do you use the present continuous tense? Now present continuous tense is used when that an action is continued or going to be continued in near future. Now you know that you will start with an activity in the present time and that will continue in the near future. That is why I was saying, past, present, future, they denote the time. Tense is, determined by the doing word or the be verbs. Okay. So an activity which will begin in the present and continue in the near future. Like, let's take the example of today's class. You can say that we are attending the class. So you know that this has started in the present and it will continue for another hour or so. So we're attending the class. Okay. Then I'm going to the cinema tonight. Okay. Now this hasn't started yet, but will start in the present and will continue in the future as well. So something which might start after a few hours in the present, but and will continue in the future. So this does not need to be in the future tense at all. It can be in the present as well. Like I'm going to the movie tonight. Okay, right? So this goes for present continuous tense. Now, there are certain, verbs. Now, when you are using this present continuous tense, you must keep in mind that, there are certain verbs of which, we do not normally use the continuous form. Okay. Normally, uh, there's certain exceptions. Now, what are these verbs? Like, examples: see, hear, smell, notice, recognize. Normally, we do not use the continuous form of the verb. We do not say, I am recognizing this. No, you don't say, I have recognized this or I recognize that. Okay, I recognize you. You keep it simple, right? Not the continuous form of the verb. Okay. Some more, such verbs may include like appear, look, seem, okay, want, wish, desire, feel, agree, consider, remember, forget, know, imagine. These are certain verbs, of which we do not use the continuous form usually. Okay, exceptions, right? Now, after your simple present and the simple and the present continuous, we have the present perfect tense. Okay. Now, for the present perfect tense, you use it when the work has been done. Okay, it's already done. But the effect of that work lasts in the present. Okay. The work was done in the present and it is over. It's done. But then you do not use the past tense. Why? Because the effect of that work has some lasting impression, okay, which continues in the present. Like he has studied for 3 hours. Okay, so that maybe you're reporting after this is the fourth hour now. Okay, so 3 hours have passed, but since you're reporting in the present, the effect of it lasts of his studying for 3 hours. You report that he has studied for 3 hours, or they have just returned home. Okay, so the return to home is already there, but the effect is there of the returning, and you are reporting in the present. So even if it is 5-10 minutes back, you do not say that uh, they had arrived 10 minutes back. No, you don't say that. You just say since the effect is there, you say that they have just returned home, or they have done the work. So whenever the work which has been done in the present, but the effect of it is already done, but the effect of it continues, we use the present perfect tense. Okay. Then you have the present perfect continuous tense. Okay. The present perfect continuous tense is used for an action, which has begun at some point of time in the past, but it is still continuing. Okay. If you say that, I have been reading this book for 2 days. So you have started, reading the book 2 days back and you are still reading it. It's not over. So something which has started in the past, near past, okay, not distant past, and it is still continuing in the present. So you use the present perfect continuous tense. Okay. So I have been reading this book for 2 days, or we are living in this house for 10 years. She has been studying in this school for 10 years. Okay. Somebody continues in the same school for, till higher secondary, so it can be 10 years. So these are the things which had, started in the near past, and then it is continuing in the present as well. To denote those kind of activities, we use for present perfect continuous tense. Okay. Have you followed? Before we move on to the past tense, have you followed the present and the divisions of the present tense?
Yes, ma'am.
Any question? Any question? Do you want me to repeat anything?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Understood.
Okay. So let's move on to then past tense, right? Or the simple past. The past indefinite tense or simple past. We'll begin with that. Okay. Now, when we are talking about past tense, the simple past or the past indefinite tense, we use that, to denote an action which was completed in the past, or, something, um, you know, it talks about a past habit. Okay. So, I spent my, childhood in Calcutta. So this is an action, which had started in the past and it was completed in the past. So I can say that, I spent my childhood in Calcutta. Then I had completed school. Okay. Now these are the things which had taken place in the past, and it talks about a past habit. Obviously, going to school was something of a past habit, so it has been already done. So it is for those type of actions we use the past indefinite tense or simple past. Okay. Okay. Now let's come to past continuous tense. When we are talking about the past continuous tense, okay, we use that, for an action which continued for some time in the past. The simple past is, for the action which had started in the past, finished in the past. Now, this is for an action which started in the past and continued for some time in the past. For those type of activities, we use the past continuous tense. Okay? Like I was singing this song, okay, or we were playing football. Okay, so these are certain activities, which had started in the past and then it ended in the past. It is not like present continuous tense. Okay, continuing for some time in the present. No, it started in the past, continued in for some time in the past, and then it is done. So we use the past continuous tense in those cases. Now let's come to past perfect tense. Now when we use the past perfect tense, this is a little bit, a complicated kind of a tense, but you just need to understand it and then it is all simple. Okay. Now for past perfect tense, we actually need two type actions, in which, one action between these two, and both the actions need to be completed. Okay, it's not that one action is continuing and the other has been completed. No, two actions of the past, okay, completed, in which, one action has been complete, of the two has been completed in the past. So in that case, we use simple past, the action which was completed before the second action. Both actions have to be in the past But out of these two actions, one action needs to be done before the other one. For that, we use the um, simple past. Okay. Now, suppose let's give you the example of two events happening almost simultaneously, but one action ending a bit faster or earlier than the other one. Suppose we talk about two friends. Okay, one friend leaving the venue and the other entering the venue. Okay? So both these actions have happened in the past. Now, for the convenience, I'm telling you, suppose one friend has left before the other entered the venue. So, for the action, this leaving the venue, since it has taken place before the other friend entering the venue, we use simple past for the action which denotes, the person leaving the venue, and past perfect for the person entering the venue. Okay. Please keep in mind that both the action needs to be done in the past, completed in the past. Okay, no present hangovers. Okay, so like um, we can say that Rahul had um, come had arrived at the venue. Um, Wait, let me frame it. Okay, a simpler one just came to my mind. Okay. The train had started before I reached the station. Okay. So here we are talking about two incidents. Okay. One of the train starting and the one when I have to reach the station. So since I am late, now both the actions have taken place in the past. Now since I am late, okay, the train had already started. So my arrival at the station takes place after the station after the train starts. So you know uh, the action which had taken place earlier, okay, the train starting before I reach the station, the past perfect tense is used for that, and simple past is used for the other action, the second action, which is completed or which takes place after the first action. So the train had started before I reached the station. Okay. Or they had reached the school gate before the bell rang. Another common example we use for past perfect tense is that the patient had died before the doctor came, or the doctor came after the patient had died. So, two past action, one action taking place, finishing before the other action. The past perfect tense is used for the one which finishes before the second action, and simple past is used for the other, the second action which takes place. Okay, is it clear? The past perfect tense. Is it clear, class?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's come to past perfect continuous tense. Okay. Now, past perfect continuous tense is used for an action, that began before a certain point in the past and it continued up to that point. The time length is defined when we are talking about past perfect continuous tense. Suppose we need to talk about, one particular evening or maybe 3 hours, of the past evening. So we know that an event had taken place, started taking place 3 hours before past evening, okay, and it had continued for some 2.5 hours or 3 hours also for that in the past evening. So the time length is fixed in the past. So when the action has started, at the beginning of the time length and continued for the specific time in the past, we use past perfect continuous tense. Uh, like we had been playing cards before the train started. So that train starting, is the penultimate point of the uh, time. Okay. After that, you're reporting. And you're talking about some activity which started before the train started and completed, before the train started. So the time length is defined. Okay. Here the number of hours is not given, but then train starting actually suggests that your time frame stops there. Okay. So you are talking about an event which started in the past, continued for a certain period of time in the past, okay, till a given point. So you use past perfect continuous tense in that sense. We had been playing cards before the train started. Your mother had been waiting for you when you went to your friend's house. When I met the girl, she had been crying for several hours. So these are certain, time frames, okay, the defined time frames where, some activity had started and then ended also by that time frame, continued and ended by that time frame. In those cases, we use past perfect continuous tense. Okay. We had been playing cards before the train started. When I met the girl, she had been crying for several hours. Okay. Your mother had been waiting for you when you went to your friend's house. So these are examples of past perfect continuous tense. Right? Have you followed? Have you followed? Is there any
Yes.
question, class? Followed. No question?
No, ma'am.
No question. Okay. I'll just take a break of 2 minutes and then we'll start with future tense. Okay? Just 2 minutes. We'll resume again after 2 minutes. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, are you there, class? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Great,
Okay,
ma'am.
since all of you are in the first SEM, are you aware of the IIC Institute Innovation Council? I don't think any one of you is still a part of it, but are you aware of it?
No, ma'am.
No,
No, ma'am.
No,
no,
ma'am.
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, there is this council, which was
Yes,
developed
ma'am.
by,
Ma'am, I
yes,
was aware of it.
you were where? What did you
Ma'am,
say?
I am aware of it. I mean, I saw the website.
Okay. So since you're aware of it, so this is the council, which is set up by the Ministry of Education. Okay. And it's there in all the IITs, NITs, and INI, CFTIs, let's say that. It actually promotes, the indigenous engineering activities, certain MIC driven activities where you have different, talks, lectures, how to start a startup, then, how to, what are the problems of MSMEs. This kind of activities are there, and certain creative activities are also there, like toy-a-thons. These kind of activities are also there by the IIC. So we have this IIC chapters in Shipur also. Currently, we are having IIC 4.0. So I just had excused myself for 2 minutes, but it got a bit longer. I was discussing that activity on another. I got a mail, so I was discussing that. So actually, I'm the faculty coordinator of the social media committee there. So where any activity which is organized by the IIST Shipur for IIC 4.0, so those are uploaded on the social media pages like Twitter, FB, then you have Instagram, LinkedIn. So whatever, if you visit the web page of IIC, IIST Shipur, any of these web pages, you will see the posters. And since you all have joined, I think just a month back, you have not been incorporated in the uh, this IIC 4 committees, any of it. There was no time because it was constituted, I think, again in October or November. So this is my second term. I'm serving as the faculty coordinator of social media committee. So any one of you, later on, if since we have few student members, on this, in each committee, there are 8 9 committees, different committees. So, after 1 or 2 months, we realize, everyone is busy and we need more helping hands. So any one of you, who are interested in, this web designing, graphic designing, or good with, this snippets, of video, images, and all these things created. So you can volunteer when the time comes. So I'm just telling you to make you aware. And later on, from your second year, uh, you can be a part of it if you are interacting well with your seniors. Which you would do. It's unfortunate that you are not here in the campus, and like since 2020, everything has been closed down, so everything is virtual. So it's really very unfortunate. Interaction has been limited to the virtual world. But still, I would ask you all to stay in touch with your seniors, interact with them. There are many such committees, such councils in IIEST. So if you are interested, for these extracurricular activities, as per your interest, you can join them. And it usually happens, through your seniors, because each such committee, such council is created for 1 year. So, if one student member is there, you are in touch with it. The faculty coordinators of each committee usually ask the incumbents if they have certain recommendations, in the sense if they know that the juniors can carry on with the work or not. So they suggest a few names. So that becomes easier to select. Otherwise, there are so many students, we won't know that who is good and what. And now that it is all virtual, we are not meeting them also. And activities have been lessened also. So we don't know actually. That is our handicap nowadays. So I would say that stay in touch with your seniors also. So you would be aware of it. And if any one of you, after 1 or 2 months, last time also we did it. We had asked for students from all the years right up to the PhD to volunteer, and we did get some, 7, 8 extra volunteers also, apart from the council members. They were actively involved. So if that time comes, you can obviously volunteer. Okay, if you're good at it. There are so many committees in IIC also. Okay, so as per your interest, you can enroll yourself as a volunteer. Okay, so since I was working on it, I had excused myself for that activity. Like what that name. Just thought of, informing you all. Okay, fine. Now let's get back to our. This is something which will happen in the future. Okay, so let's get back to our future tense. Okay, so I hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's start with future tense. Getting back. Now, what is future indefinite tense? Now, future indefinite tense, it is used when an action is to be done, or will be done in the future, okay, or happen in the future. Like today is what? Tuesday. Suppose today is a holiday and tomorrow is, again, or till today we had a vacation and tomorrow we are going back to school. So going back to school, that incident, it will happen in the future. Okay? So we can say that we shall go to school tomorrow. So this is something, the action of going to school will take place in the future, near future. So we use future indefinite tense or simple future, right? And we usually use shall, will, this type of thing. Okay. Now, one question, I think when I was a student, I had also asked, and you were students, I have seen that many of you have asked this question. When do we use shall and when do we use will, right? How do you differentiate it, right? Or what is the importance of it? Okay, why is this difference? Why can we not use shall for all, or why can we not use will for everything? Okay. Now, when we are talking about future indefinite tense, okay, the simple future, whenever it is in the first person, okay, like I, okay, we use shall, okay. When it is in the second or the third person, like he, she, they, you, it is in the, we use will. Okay. This is one thing, right? The first person, we use shall, okay? And for third person, we use will, okay? One thing is that. Second thing is that, we use will instead of shall and shall instead of will when we talk about strong intention. Now, when we have determined this person, whether it is in the first person or the second person or third person, and we know that we will be doing this work for sure, okay, so we will use shall. That, strong intention is that I'm going back to school tomorrow. Okay, that intention is clear. The strong intention is there. So I must use shall for it when I'm talking about myself or ourselves. Okay, I shall go to school or we shall go to school. If it is for some other person, he, she, they, it will be will. Okay. If that, strong intention is not there, but we are talking about, an activity which will definitely take place in the future. Okay. Uh, but then, uh, that intention is not very clear. It may happen or may not happen. We will use it again interchangeably. Like, I will go to school. He shall go to school. Okay. See, these things are used, interchangeably depending on the intensity of your will. Okay. Is this clear, class? Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we have future continuous tense. Okay. Now for future continuous tense, we use future continuous tense when an action is thought to be going on in the future. Okay. Obviously, future, we all know the action, it has neither taken place in the past, it did not continue in the past, and it is obviously not taking place in the present. Something which will take place in the future. And since the events are to take place in the future, we are imagining, the event which will take place in the future will continue for some time in the future itself. Okay? Like, uh, I will be doing the work tomorrow. So I know that, sorry, I shall be doing the work tomorrow. I'm very sorry. I shall be doing the work tomorrow. So I know that, the work will be starting tomorrow. Okay. I will take up that work, and that work will be done by me for certain, for some amount of time. It will continue for some amount of time. Okay. So it's a continuous time frame, and for an event which will take place in the future. So I shall be doing the work tomorrow. Okay. I shall be reading the book then, or he will be playing football tomorrow, playing the match tomorrow. Okay. So the match, it has got a fixed time. If it is football, some 90 minutes are there. So for 90 minutes he will be playing in the tomorrow. So he will be playing the match tomorrow for 90 minutes, something like that. He'll say. Okay. So an event which will take place in the future and it will continue for some time in the future. And shall will, I have already defined the, I've already discussed when it is used and for which portion. Okay. Then let's come to future perfect tense. Okay. Future perfect tense is used to indicate the completion of an action by a certain point of time in the future. Okay. It will take place in the future. Okay, and it will be completed, at a certain point of time in the future. This is all imagination. Okay. But then we do say, okay, like I shall have finished the work before the get together. Okay. So there's a get together tomorrow, and you have some work also which needs to be done by tomorrow. But you need to finish it. So this is all based on imagination actually. Future is all imagination. You're setting a target. So you know that you will be completing the work before they get together. So you're saying that I shall have finished the work before the get together tomorrow. Okay. So an event which will be completed before a certain time period, it is at that point you use future perfect tense. Okay. Then you have, before you go to see him, he will have left the place. So that is the time frame, someone going to the place, leaving that place, defines the time. So, and the activity is also completed by the future. So, you say, those type of statements using future perfect tense. Okay. Then you have future perfect continuous tense. Okay. So future perfect continuous tense is used when the doer will have been doing the work by a certain future time. Okay. Like again, everything is in the future. It's imagination. Okay. So suppose let's talk about your midterm, which is in mid-February. So by mid-February, we shall have completed, uh, you know, uh, the class of PCE, Professional Communication English, um, for 2 months. Okay, let's say that. So this mid-February is a time in the future, right? And then we are talking about an event which started in the uh, you know uh, uh, past, but then it had continued in the present and continuing in the future. Obviously, mid-February has not come, right? We are still in January. But since we are saying that, the action is still continuing in the future and it will complete some around 2 months. So we are saying that, by next or by mid-February, we shall have been, attending the class of PC for 2 months. Okay. It has already started continuing in the present and will continue in the future. And in future, by that time period, you'll be completing certain amount of time or something of the sort. You are using future perfect continuous tense. Or like it's true for all of you. You will, you know, uh, you shall have been studying at IIEST when you get your degree. So you know that you when you are getting your degree, the convocation, you will be studying in IIST Shipur, right? So an activity which has started in the near past, continuing in the present, and till a certain amount of time in the future, okay, it will continue. Okay, and it's predictable also that way. So you use future perfect continuous tense in that case. Okay. Is it clear, class? Or do you want me to repeat?
No, ma'am, clear.
Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
fine. Uh, Now we have completed all the time and tense, like the present, past, future. So this is one topic which we have discussed so far. Okay. And today I'll be uploading the list of the idioms, since Rachna ma'am had already started it and she may not have completed. So we'll start. Okay. I'll send you the complete list. So anything else you want me to
Ma'am,
add?
share anything at classroom.
Yeah, I'll share it on the classroom.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll share it today, the idioms list. And this I had already asked you, to keep a grammar book by your side. So you can refer to the time and tense for it also. Okay, I have already done that in the class. So you can refer to that. And if there is any confusion, you can ask me. Is there any confusion? Do you want me to repeat or anything of that sort? Nothing? Okay, so since time and tense itself is a bit, lengthy topic and we have discussed so many aspects, I don't want to start another topic right now. So we will again take up a new topic tomorrow from grammar itself and we will discuss it, okay? But if you have any question right now regarding time and tense, we can discuss it. try and recollect if there is any questions, so that we can discuss it. No question? Okay, last time before I had left for my leave, I had done a subject verb agreement, right? Class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that's done, and this part is done. Idioms I'll be uploading on your classroom today. Okay, so you can go through the list.
Sure,
Tomorrow,
ma'am. Thank you.
yeah, tomorrow I'll be starting a new topic. Okay, and please, like you had told me earlier that you have got hold of a grammar book, or you are still holding on to your previous grammar books. Refer to those books for time and tense for clarity. Okay, these are things which you have already done. Oh, one more thing, just keep in mind. I have, you know, discussed the rules, but this is for your understanding. In the exam, you won't be asked to define the rules. You'll be getting fill in the blanks. You have. Suppose I'll be giving you a blank, and then the verbs would be there in the bracket parenthesis. Okay, in parenthesis, and you would be asked to put in the correct form of the verb, right? So this is how questions will be asked. Don't think that the smuggling up, cramming up the rules will help you that way. You need to understand so that you can understand what sense is being conveyed through that sentence, so that you can identify and put the correct form of verb. This is how questions should be asked. Okay, is that clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Okay. So since you do not have any question, I think we'll end the class now. And I have taken a screenshot of your attendance, so don't worry.
Ma'am, wait. I haven't given my attendance.
Okay. Those who haven't, just write it. Okay, fine. I think all of you must have marked your attendance in the